Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a minute since I've done a voice tutorial, but I am in the process of getting everything set up. I just moved to Atlanta and I'm planning to add a face cam and try to take these tutorials to the next level, so I apologize for being a little inconsistent with the schedule, but in the meantime I figured I'd do a voice tutorial while everything is still getting set up and show you guys how to make a unique dark sample for somebody like Southside. The sample that I'm about to break down is from my most recent sample pack called Nightfall Volume 3. It contains 20 dark samples similar to this one, and they're all in the style of like Southside, Power XQB. It's all really dark. But yeah, I just dropped a bundle with all 3 volumes of Nightfall as well. That includes 60 samples and 20 bonus midis. So if you're interested in really dark / like unique samples, I'll leave a link in the description for both of those kits. But anyways, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and let's get right into it. Alright, so as you can see, I got the final sample pulled up here. Final sample is in B minor. Everything that I'm going to be showing you guys, all the midis and all that, is in D minor. As you can see at the very end, I pitched it down 3 semitones, so from D to B. But we're sitting at 162 BPM, more of a Southside vibe that way. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play the final sample so you can hear how it sounds, and then, as usual, break down everything I did to make it. So yeah, as you can hear, really dark with a really heavy piano and a lot of like ambient sounds. Like I said, something really good for somebody like Southside, or if you're trying to make dark beats. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just break everything down. Alright, so the first thing that I added for this sample was a piano. So I pulled up Noir Pure and I put this emotional preset on. In a lot of my tutorials I talk about when you're making dark samples, you want your midis to be pretty simple. And as you can see, this MIDI is extremely simple. It's literally just 2 notes and then with the root note at D. And I just copied the root note down 3 octaves. So I have these bass notes down here at D going all the way like every bar. And at the very end, the only thing that changes is that they go up 2 semitones and then I think 7 semitones. And then literally it's the same chord repeated over and over with 1 note at the top added just to kind of add like just a higher note. Literally, that's it. The same exact chord just repeated with different velocities. So I'll go ahead and play it on its own and then kind of further explain it. Yeah, as you can hear at the end, the bass notes go up, and then at the end here we have this note at the top. And then, like I said, it's just the same exact chord, just with the velocities changed, so it almost sounds like the chord is kind of like echoing. For the effects, I have Echo Boy, some tape echo, and then reverb. And then what I did is I rendered it out as an audio file, and then I put it to a separate mixer track, and then I added a cassette for some tape effect, and then a couple EQs to take out some of the frequencies I didn't want. And usually I would EQ out the low end to leave room for bass, but because I have that really deep root note right here, I just wanted to leave that as the bass. I didn't want to add an extra bass, so just kind of left that in with the piano. Okay, the next thing that I did is I added this starter that I have from my most recent MIDI and starter kit. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description for that as well if you're interested. Has a bunch of midis, bunch of starters. Yeah, I made sure to find one that matched the BPM and the key, and I just added it to see if it sounded good, and it ended up sounding really good. So like I said, I just added it right here. Unfortunately, I don't have the project file for it, so I can't show you how I made it, but it's just like a really really simple repetitive, I think, like with a one shot. I just made a really repetitive pattern, added some effects. And then I added even more effects to it. I added this crystal choir preset from Effect Rack. I added a tremolator to make the sound like kind of go in and out. Pan man to make it pan back and forth really quickly. And then an EQ to take out a lot of the low end, a lot of the high end, and then some harsh frequencies that were in there. This starter in particular just sounded really good with the piano. Okay, the next thing that I added to this sample was this preset from Arcus. I've used Arcus in a lot of my tutorials recently, and it's really good for dark samples, like Southside type stuff. They just have a lot of cool like textures and pads, and like it's like unique orchestral vibe. It's not just like basic strings and violins and stuff like that. Yeah, I highly recommend this contact bank. Anyway, I used this little texture to add in there, and like I said, really simple MIDIs for dark samples. So go ahead and play it. Literally just 2 notes that repeat. For effects, I just added cassette for some tape, some sketch cassette to add a little bit of compression and boost some of the highs, and also add some extra tape, and then an EQ to EQ out the low end. Next thing that I added was this bell. It's just a one-shot bell. It sounds like this. And again, really complicated MIDI. Here with 3 notes this time instead of 2. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and then I'll show you the effects that I added to it. And then that just repeats, literally the same thing. I added reels for some cassette, Echo Boy ambient echoes preset for some delay. I used this Alina Verb reverb preset from Valhalla Ubermod. This is like a unique reverb that I found. It adds like some chorus, like modulation, delay, reverb, all that. And then I EQ'd the low end and then some of the high end to make it sound exactly how I wanted. And then panned it to the left. Alright, so as you can see in the playlist, I have the sample kind of broken down at the beginning in 2 different sections. So I just went over these sounds for the first section, where I have the piano, the starter, and then I have the bell right here, and then the little texture going. And then the texture drops out, and I add 2 different sounds, just to kind of switch up the sample a little bit. And again, really simple MIDI, really repetitive, really simple. I feel like that's the key for good dark samples. It looks very basic, but you know, sometimes it's difficult to stop, to like figure out when you should stop and you shouldn't add more. I feel like it's a skill in and of itself to try to figure out like where to stop, like how much to add, and make it sound like unique but not basic. Yeah, I added this preset from the Orchestra Complete. Go ahead and play how that sounds. So it's basically just a violin, a high violin, and a choir, and I just added some cassette and fresh air to boost the highs, and then an EQ to EQ out the low end. And then I also added another choir from the same preset. It's just a really low choir, so I'll go ahead and play that. And then that just repeats throughout the entire sample. I panned the first one to the right, and then I panned the other one to the left just to kind of create some separation. Yeah, once I had everything, all the sounds that I wanted, I just made sure to structure it out as usual, broke it down into different sections, and then I have the stems at the end. I rendered it out, brought it back in as an audio file, and then I pitched it down 3 semitones like I said. So we went from D minor to B minor, and then I put it to its own mixer track, added some virtual tape machine for some more tape effect. On the master I have fresh air, and then on the master I have sketch cassette 2 with this chrome comp preset. For a little while I was using this preset on the master because it kind of boosts some of the highs and adds some compression, but it's not good for every sample. Sometimes it makes it sound really muddy, so it's only good for certain samples. It sounded good with this one. And then I added Soothe 2 to take out some of the weird high-end sound, and then Maximus just to boost the volume, and that's pretty much it for that sample. So yeah, that's how I approach making a dark, unique sample for somebody like Southside. Like I said, the MIDIs are extremely simple. I've been a huge like advocate for simple MIDIs. But yeah, anyways, I'll leave a link down in the description for the MIDI kit and the sample packs if you're interested. Don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully you learned something from the video, and I'll see you in the next one.